Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for joining me for the Sunday night stream, Sunday afternoon stream. We're still getting used to it. Appreciate everybody joining us. I am catching my breath from running around here, getting everything ready. What am I stepping on? Plastic. Drive me crazy. How's everybody doing? Pete? Matt, Deborah, how is everybody? Happy Sunday from snowy Sweden. You know, I was just talking to somebody about, the new Sunday stream schedule, and they said, how's it working out? And I said, my friends over in the East are it's much easier for them to join me, so it's going well. Appreciate everybody being here. As I said, I'm still catching my breath from running around here. Getting everything elsewhere outside situated so that I could get in here. What was I going to add? Oh, Discord. I want to talk Discord because Fugue Photo right here in the chat up at the top, he helped me out with getting the Discord set up. So now the Discord is ready to go, and I want to share it so that way everyone that's regularly here, everybody can check it out and see, if it's something that you would enjoy, it's something that you would use. The goal is, if you're not already on Discord, I'm not personally. That's why it's taken me until just now to actually get to it. But I want to have a place where we can all hang out, talk outside of just the Sunday streams. So a place kind of treating it like a place for discussion. You can set up forums. You can post all kinds of different things. We can do live streams there, group conversations and group calls and stuff there. There's a lot of cool stuff that app or that platform would allow us to do. I'm still just very new to it, and so learning how it works and all the ins and outs, it's taken me a minute to kind of wrap my mind around it, but I think it'll be cool. So I need to figure out here. I think if I share, I should be able to share a link here. Let's see. I waited specifically to do this now and do it in real time in case I had questions for anybody. But I need to share the server settings, server insights. How do I just share the server with everyone? Invite to server. Do I have to invite? Okay, here we go. Got that. I'm assuming I can just post the invite link in the chat right there. Is that a bad? Before I do that, hold on. Let me get some real-time feedback here. There seems to be. Oh, what's up, Kyle? I remember you test trialing Discord years ago. Yeah, like it's been a while that I've wanted to do this, but the last few years I've just not been ready to do all of that. But I want to share the link to invite, but should I? You can always weed out the spammers and block them if needed. Let me try to find the permanent link. Okay, cool. Because I don't know if that's a bad call, like, thinking ahead to just post the broad invite link in the chat, or if it should be set up to where people can request to join in. I don't know. Because that's the other thing is, like, the whole idea behind it was through either Patreon or YouTube memberships for like $5 a month. That way it's not a place where just anyone can go in and trash the place, because it is the internet. So like there's a level of the behind the paywall sort of thing. But yeah, that's so I don't know how to go about setting that up right away. but I do want to share it with everyone here. So, yeah, maybe before I just post the link itself, you guys can let me know if there's a better way to go about it. Plus, it adds to the benefit of the subscribers. So I appreciate you saying that, because that's the kind of question in my mind is like, I don't want it's a community based thing in that everyone is going to be there and active. So, paying $5 for that to go towards the channel, me, like the ethics of that or whatever, like that's where I've been in my mind, like, should there be a paywall? But I feel like there should be, because again, it makes sure that the people there are actually invested in the community itself, and obviously the focus of it being able to highlight and just push everyone in the group or in the server, you know what I mean? Like, being able to have regular group discussions and critiques and stuff with everyone involved. That's the kind of thing I want to do. I just, again, the reason I've been pushing it off, not the only reason, but one of the many reasons, is like, I don't want to ask people for $5 a month. That's, but it is what it is. One of the best parts of my week. I appreciate you saying that. That's awesome. I always enjoy the Sunday streams. Small amount is worth paying. I appreciate that feedback. That genuinely is good to know, because it's like, I don't know. It's one of those things that I struggle with. And I myself am constantly like, how many monthly things am I paying for? Like, not just for myself, but an entire household. It adds up. You know what I mean? Let me see. Post, yes, the P.O. Box link or address in the chat. I'm putting that right now. P.O. Box 2006, Chillicothe, Ohio 45601. That is me. I have 5 books for you as a thank you for all you... Whoa! For real? That's wild. That is wild. Thank you for that. We will absolutely open them up here on stream and check them out. Thank you. That's insanely kind of you. There are roles on Discord that can be assigned automatically and or manually. There can be free channels and contribution channels. Okay, cool. That's a good idea. Because it would be nice to have a place where I like the idea of people being able to kind of get a feel for what it is before signing up, if that makes sense. I don't know. Is there maybe a short questionnaire prior to joining the server to gauge what the member will contribute, kind of like local Facebook groups? Then there's admins that can vet the answers. Okay. Yeah, that would be helpful too. Because that's the other aspect of it, is like, I don't want people to pay $5 a month, even if they don't just did it once and only spent $5. If they did that and it wasn't what they thought it was going to be, or they didn't get what they thought they were going to be, then that's a bummer, you know? So yeah, if there's Kyle, if you're in that world, if you're on Discord still regularly, I could probably use your help on that as well, on just navigating all of that, as well as everybody else here. And having basic ground rules just to cover yourself. Yeah, that's the thing too. Like, it it feels silly to think about, like, well, I need to make sure I tell people, like, hey, act like adults here, you know? But it is something that I would have to say. So, I mean, that's, if it were completely open to everybody, for sure. With everyone here, like my usual demographic, I guess, the people that I interact with, I wouldn't see any issue with it, but I get what you're saying. Matt, I'm not on Discord yet, but I'd be happy to help admin. I appreciate that. That would be awesome. 'Cause that's the thing. It's like, I want it to not just be me and like my say and my call on everything. I need to have feedback from everyone. You for sure have to tell people always having mods for the Discord might be good too. Yeah, yeah. Just for the general housekeeping, it would probably be helpful. So I'm glad that there's interest in this for real, because it's something that I've wanted to do for way too long now. So um, I've got it set up so far. Basically, I'll kind of share what I can't literally share it yet until we figure that out. But um, and David as well had a lot of the kind of structure built initially. I've just gone in and kind of tweaked things and like added certain categories, thread or forums, stuff like that. So kind of in the general like photography questions or like technical stuff, a forum dedicated to just that. So if you have questions about a camera, like literally everything from like basics of exposure to developing film to lighting, any random question like that, there's a place where you could just ask that question. Not only asking me, where I'll be there answering questions, but also getting feedback and experiences from everyone else, sharing their own thoughts. Um, that just for like the technical stuff, a section just for gear questions. If someone wanted to know, hey, has anyone had experience with this lens before or this camera before? And other people can chime in as well. A place to sell or exchange gear with other people within the same community. That's a nice thing to be able to have somewhat of a smaller, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Just a smaller group of people, I guess, where you kind of know more of the people around you. You're not just shopping as blindly for different gear. Stuff like that would be, I think, helpful, as well as for photo books, to share books that you guys have picked up. If you want to share anything that you would recommend, a post to talk about that, or exchanging books, swapping books. Literally just like different sections for anything that we could possibly want to talk about, the kind of stuff that we tend to talk about on stream, just giving it another place so that it's not just right here. You know what I mean? And I think just having a space like that with everyone and the people who are regularly here, a part of the stream and a part of the conversation, to be able to continue that throughout the week, not just once a week. I feel like that can just only benefit the Sunday stream, which is open to everybody. You know what I mean? That could be another aspect of it too, like specific topics or questions answered on stream could be people from the community itself. All stuff like that are things that I want to do, but learning it all and trying to set it all up just by myself, that's why it's been put off for so long. So if that kind of stuff sounds interesting to you, that's what we're trying to make happen. I thought keeping it thread-based on those channels would help keep the chat room flood to a minimum while keeping the actual live chat channels available. For sure. Yeah, that way it's not all just like bogging down one specific area. There's a nice, neat, organized place for everything. And being able to look back at previous conversations and, you know, like, I don't read forums now, but back in the day, I was always on the Flickr forums and just reading stuff like that all the time. So, hello, Matt. What's up? Glad to see you. Yeah, that makes sense. Being flooded with chats, having to weed through them to follow conversations can be tough. Right, and that's the thing with the live streams too. I appreciate everyone who watches the replays. I think the live nature of this, for me, I always think like, man, no one is going to want to watch any of these back or listen to any of these back. But people do, and I appreciate that. So all that to say, I think with Discord being able to like clearly navigate the conversations, and it's not just this live stream is very, we'll see what we talk about. You know what I mean? My boss Dard, every week he'll ask me like, so well, what's the plan for this Sunday? And I'm always just like, we'll figure it out, when we get there. It's different every week. We talk about whatever's in conversation here in the chat. So I think being able to navigate some of that stuff, because I think that there's good conversation that's had here, but you kind of have to sift through hour-long streams to find some of it, if that makes sense. So, sidebar, would love to send you some prints. Same PO box above is good. Yes, Kyle, that would be awesome. We'll open them up here on stream together. That'd be great, man. I'm pretty sure. I wonder. Kyle, what was the name of the zine? You had a zine that had, was it 3 photos on the cover of it? Like 3 smaller photos cut out? Am I remembering that right, Kyle? If so, it's here somewhere. I've got all, not all, this is still, I'm still trying to like organize all of my zines. Kevin and I, we were talking about that the other night. He said that he uses filing cabinets with the like drop-in envelopes or not envelopes but folders, so that you can just kind of like layer several zines in there and organize them that way to keep them somewhat protected. So I might try that as well. I just haven't found a good method of zine storage, so they're all often loose like this in these like individual small boxes. Delta back in 2020. Yeah, dude, I wonder. I got a bunch here. Some of these are new, but some of these are really old. Some of these are zines that you guys have sent in. Pendaflex folders. It's sad that I know that. I did not know the name of it. Pendaflex. That's pretty rad. Maybe something nicer than IKEA. Yeah, that's the goal, is like, I want to be able to preserve these zines, but it's not always easy. It's one of Garrett's old zines. Gert, if you ever happen to see this, put out another zine. Let's see. There's just, I just filled up a giant tote like 2 nights ago. Just trying to somewhat know where things are, but hey, I'm not that awful, right? I know what I'm talking about. And check that out. Molly's gonna see I stole her coffee mug on my way out here. Whoops. All right. $25 of $25. That was my last copy. I haven't seen my own zine since. Grateful for it to be in your hands. Brother, always. I have so many zines over so many years that even if it takes me a minute, I can usually find, the rough area where they're at. That's right. Yeah. Be nice to IKEA. That's right. We've got our friend from Sweden here, so check it out. Kyle, I'm stoked that you're here and that this came up, man, because it's been a while since I've looked through this. Given that you're not in a winter jacket, I take it you got the heat situation fixed in the barn. Man, fixed is tough. I wouldn't go as far as to say it's fixed, but it's not been too bad lately. Always loved this one. Just super, super clean lines, clean light. Yeah. Love it, dude. But yeah, the heat, the temperature here hasn't been too bad over the last week. Like a couple of days ago, they had the windows open at school. Like it was that warm. And now today it's bitter cold. We had snow this morning, and now I'm pretty cold right now. I don't have the heavy coat on, but I kind of wish I did. But the heat hasn't been as much of an issue. I kind of modified where the heater is mounted right now, and I've been looking at mini splits on Facebook Marketplace over the last week or so. That's the plan before summer gets here, so that way I'm not burning up like I was last summer. It wasn't terrible. I would just keep the window or keep the barn door open and have fans going, but it made me nervous with all the books and paper goods out here. I had that humidifier or dehumidifier running constantly. IKEA Billy bookcases are really great and strong. They're holding my books pretty well. They do have some solid shelves. It's not all like it gets knocked on quite a bit, but they have some gems. I've put together many a IKEA furniture. This just turned into an IKEA love fest. My bad. Hey, no. As we said, nothing but love to our friends here. Sounds like the cold is figuring itself out. Yes, it is. We're all past all of the illness as well. Forrest had surgery that happened this past week before, since our last stream. That's right. Forrest had his surgery on his esophagus, or near his esophagus, I should say, repairing his laryngeal cleft, which we learned about a couple months back. It's why he's had to be on thickened liquids, and he was coughing when he would be drinking and everything. And so had him on thickened liquids for a while, had the laryngeal cleft repaired on Wednesday, and then hopefully once he's fully healed up and we do another swallow study at the hospital, he'll pass that and he won't have to have any thickener in his liquids anymore, because I'm sure he's real tired of it. I would be too, especially as a 3-year-old. But surgery went great. Recovery went great. He was home the very next day, which we weren't really expecting. We thought it would be a couple of days. And yeah, recovery's been great. He's going back to school tomorrow. And yeah, we're all breathing a little easier as well, not just him. Feels good to have that behind us now. These photos are pretty great. Yes, they are. Kyle Fang in the chat. Delta, published in 2020. The homie right there. Love it. Oh, I didn't have my bad. The chat was blocked off of screen that whole time. I didn't have it visible. My bad, guys. Kyle Fang, Delta. I'm glad you popped in here today. It's good to look at that. It's been a while. I've got a lot of other zines here, though. I think it might be fun to see what we find. I appreciate that. Thank you, guys. I've seen, I think it was the Billy bookcase, since we don't have to run away from the conversation. I'm pretty sure that's one of them that I see people modify quite a bit. Is that the one I'm thinking of? Let's see what other zines we've got. Damn. Oh, yeah. Caleb Jenkins. Here's another one that I think this is 2018. Caleb Jenkins. Let me bring this up a little bit. Not that. Here we go. Caleb did the layout as well as the binding and putting together of. Let me grab one. I hope I know. There we They're a little beat up. These are the only copies I have left. We did, which was the first one? I can't remember if this was the second edition. I think the blue one is the second edition. Yeah, okay. So Caleb, who made this, he did the design and also the binding and everything on these zines. You can see how they're sewn together there. But, oh, sorry, let me get an update on the chat here. I missed the beginning of the stream. Is the Discord up? We got to that at the beginning. We were kind of talking about it. We're looking to figure out the best way to share it with everyone. So that way there's like a sort of joining process. So it's not just like flooding the gates with just anyone and everyone, just the people here, you know, in the community, either YouTube members or Patreon, $5 a month, either one of those platforms. But we'll talk more about that here in just a bit. Can't send gifts, but I'm virtually sending you the Tiger's Woods Big Dog Dap Up gif. I got you. I appreciate you, brother. So Caleb, he made these for me. These are all landscapes and photos from different trips, all different instant film. Caleb did the design on everything and then printed them himself on a color laser printer at home, and then sewn everything together and got them out to me, and then I shipped everything out. This was in 2018. We did this one, which I don't even remember how many of these we did. I'll say we didn't say. Yeah, I don't even remember. But we sold that one, and that sold out. So then we did a second one with a blue cover for the second edition. Same inside and everything, but just a different cover, just for fun. And then Caleb made, how many? I think he made like 3 of these, and it was literally just because he wanted to try a different binding method and do something totally different. And so he made this one as well, and I think it's one of like 3 maybe. I have one of each. Yeah, special edition of 3. So super cool stuff. Caleb's rad. I haven't talked to him in a long time, but every time I think of him, I think of specific photos and his mini zines that I've picked up or had picked up many years ago. This is The Fall of Man. Let's take a look at this one here. It says, "One day it'll all be okay." Love your work. First time tuning into a live stream. Ninehouse Art, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad you're here. I recently got an old school radio alarm clock. I hate using my phone as an alarm. I have genuinely been thinking about doing the same thing because, yeah, I can't stand it. It's constantly either the ringer is turned down, but my volume to watch something is turned up. Hey, why is that a thing? There's all kinds of stuff like that I just, it's not intuitive. I've really been going like old school myself. Like I feel like me 10 years ago, where I'm resisting more and more digital screen versions of anything. Reading, note taking, writing, like everything that even photos. Like I've only been using my M6 so far this month, this year. And it just feels better for me mentally to kind of ease on all of that, all of the different forms of screen time and overload of everything. Deborah Iverson, welcome to the channel members. Thank you so much. Glad you're here. Ninehouse, I have your surveyor book. Thank you for the support. I hope you enjoy that one. That means a lot. Do you still skate? I skate in my driveway with my kids. That's the majority of my skating these days. Um, all of my best days of skating in terms of technical ability are long behind me. My days now are simply spent enjoying just cruising around and skating around in the driveway. All photographs were taken in September of 2017, so all within a month. Put this out, 75 copies. Super, super good. Always loved Caleb's work, and he used to put out zines quite often. Him and anytime I think of zines, I think of Caleb and Josh Cheney. Caleb Jenkins and Josh Cheney. Both of those guys have put out so many zines, and just the work ethic behind that, like the ability to just keep putting stuff out. I admire that, because that's tough for me. It takes me a while to put out anything. Agree with all things digital being something I detest more and more, Matt. A good call on the alarm clock. Any way we can involve the phone less is a good thing. That's the thing, is like, I try to embrace, or I have tried for years now, as technology with just being able to do literally anything you want to do, with like Adobe Premiere being on an iPhone. You know what I mean? Just, you can do so much with this one device, and the idea of minimizing all of the different things needed to just do it all, you know what I mean? That idea is what would make me want to try to just simplify things, keep all of my notes for like around the house, schedules with appointments with the kids, with things that need done, like just keep it all organized in one place on my phone. But it's just not, it's never kept me on track the way the extra hassle of having a notebook for this or a notebook for that, having a pen, make sure I have everything I need, something to write on, something to, you know, it's a lot more hassle. And reading books, being able to read on my phone or an iPad as opposed to physically reading an actual book on paper, I can read in any kind of lighting condition. I've got everything all in one place. I don't have to carry multiple books. But literally, like everything, like we've all, myself, I've preached it in regards to like what people are drawn to film about, and it really is just that constraint. It's like the limit of like this or that, and just, I don't know. I never stay on track when I'm using things digitally. I want to get one of those brick things where you can like lock apps unless you physically bump the phone up against that little device. I just haven't bought one because it's another thing I don't feel like buying right now, but I feel like that would be nice. My buddy Kyle Miles swears by those things. For Christmas, I asked for and got an MP3 player so I can start ripping CDs again. Kyle, I think I saw a photo on your story of the iPod. I've seen people. I don't know what. I don't know how difficult or not difficult it would be to do it that way. I don't know if you're still using the old school like 30-pin connectors that the iPads used to, or iPods used to use. God, it's weird that iPad is the much more like common. You just don't hear iPod. But I miss having an iPod so much, and I've thought so much about that. The idea of modifying one of the iPod classics to put like a USB-C rechargeable battery in there, because I've seen people do that. Oh, Kyle, is yours modified to USB-C? Because I've seen people do that, and that's always been the like, if I ever buy an iPod one day, I want to learn how to do that, because that would be rad. I just don't know how convenient or difficult it is to move the music. That's what I've never looked into. So if it's that simple, that's good to know. I'm still reading books and play vinyls and actually got into mini discs again. Dude, mini discs. I had a mini disc player in probably 7th grade, maybe? Something like that. I really want to limit phones and social media, etc. That thing is a killer for your focus overall. It really is. I, without a doubt, have. I was just telling Molly today, I was like, I want to limit social media to only on the computer, like any of the different apps or whatever, platforms. Like if I need to check Instagram messages, I can do that directly from my computer, not on my phone. If I need to check any of the like local stuff on things like Facebook, like school coordinated communication, that kind of stuff, just do it all on the computer and leave it there so that I'm not just sucked into scrolling to whatever else is going on, like the stuff I didn't go to the app for in the first place. I want to do that and just commit to that for the next week and just see how much more stuff I get done or how much better I feel, because I know it'll make a difference. What's your ultimate daily camera, Matt? I mean, if we're talking like if I could only have one, it would be it's an iPod, dude. Real iPods cost a kidney now with shot batteries. Yeah, that makes sense. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, the ultimate daily camera. If we're talking like if I could only pick one and my all-time favorite, it would be the M6. But that's not to say that's the best daily camera, because I don't think there is one that you can just recommend to everybody. It's my favorite for sure, but not everyone likes a rangefinder. Not everybody wants manual focus. There's a million different things that go into it. If it weren't that camera, though, truly, I think it would be the X100V. Like, I don't think I've ever, besides the M6, yeah, I honestly think it would be the X100V. The V because the updated lens that version got, and all the stuff in the VI or the 6 that came after it, I don't really care about. So, especially for the price, like, I think the X100V is a really good sweet spot in that lineup so far. I still think that's like, I mean, you can get the older models, and the older models are still great. They still are more than capable. But with the updated lens and faster autofocus, things like that, I think it would be worth it. I say that not having looked at any prices on anything, because what is worth it and what that price means, that's different for everybody. And we sold our X100V when, I don't know when it was, but it was, we sold it for, I think maybe it was what I paid for it, but it was, I think it was still over the like actual retail price, because people were just buying them like crazy. But the X100V is solid. The size of it, the weight and everything for a daily carry camera, I still think that that's one that I prefer the most, if not my M6. The Ricoh GR3X, my buddy Kevin just got, and was sending me some photos the other day of it, and we were just talking about it. And that's one that I would like to try at some point, because I know I would prefer the 40 millimeter equivalent. But I've never tried or actually had one to spend time with. I've just literally held one and like taken a couple quick photos just to see how it felt. But I could see myself enjoying that camera a lot, but I haven't used it. I don't know how much I would miss having a viewfinder and only using the back of the screen, but I feel like the majority of the time I used the X100V, that's how I used it. that was mostly like a one-handed camera for me, where I would just point it and hold the camera out and just use the LCD, um, because of how small, and that's the kind of stuff that I use that camera for more than others, I guess. Good afternoon, Kevin. Good to see you. I'm looking at selling my VI and going for the Nikon ZF. I don't know. If you're looking to be able to have interchangeable lenses, then it's a no-brainer. And if you like the look of full frame more than APS-C, then you'll get that. I mean, there's a lot of upside to, in my opinion, whether it be the X100V or the VI. It's not just the VI specifically, but like, I think there's a lot of upside to something like the ZF over the X100 series. But at the same time, if it were me and I were using a daily carry camera, what would I choose? I'd probably still go with the X100V. If I could only buy one and I was specifically thinking of like the daily carry in mind, the ZF would be a smarter choice because it would also serve as a really good B camera to my Z8, whether I was shooting video or photo job, or if I just wanted a digital camera to carry with me for the day that was smaller than the Z8 and weighed much less than the Z8. There's a lot of reasons that the ZF would make more sense, but just for the daily carry conversation and like use case, I still think I would go with the X100V. But the ZF is great. The grip helps. The grip, the small rig grip, which a YouTube viewer, Keegan, he just emailed me and was like, hey, I watched your ZF video, and you mentioned that you've got a grip that you don't have any use for now, so that's on its way to Keegan. But yeah, the grip makes a big difference for that camera. M6 Leica or M6 Leica. Yeah. If you don't know me or are new here, it's a Leica M6 TTL. Been using it for almost 13 years now, which is wild. Definitely the camera I've been, like the one single camera I've been using the longest. I sold my M10 for the GR4, and it was the right decision. The pocketable factor makes it so powerful, can shoot over 1 second while keeping myself still and get great results. That's wild. I haven't seen much about the GR4, or I guess I should say I haven't looked into it because I know I'm hoping that they'll make a GR4X, because maybe by that point, when that comes out, I'll make a decision whether or not I want to try one out. But I don't know. I've heard people are really happy with it. I mean, I think more for travel. Oh yeah, with the 40 f2, also have something if I wanted to be more serious. Yeah, the ZF is definitely going to be a more usable camera in various scenarios than the X100V is. It just opens up so many more possibilities. And it's still, if you say you're still mostly shooting film, the ZF in that style will kind of, it's not the same thing, but there's a certain itch that gets scratched when you're using a camera like that, or a Fuji or a Leica, any of the cameras that just feel more like a film camera. It's a little bit of a easier crossover for people who aren't used to shooting both, at the same time. Loved the GR3 until the crappy plastic wheel on the back went out. That's a bummer. Yeah, that's tough with cameras that small. The parts are going to be really small, so stuff like that, that's a bummer. I've shot Fuji for many years now. Still hate how badly Lightroom handles Fuji RAWs. What are you using to edit your Fuji files? Are you using like Capture One, or are you just using Lightroom and dealing with it? Because that's what I always did. I always edited in Lightroom because I was already in the system and familiar with it, and that's why I'm still there now, even though I'm actively looking for something different, and I'm going to be trying some out. Capture One, okay. So I did a trial of Capture One several years ago. Um, and I think if I spent more time with it then, or if I do spend more time with it now, I could see myself getting used to it. Um, but it's just the, you know, old dog new tricks thing. It's tough for me to um, start and build that workflow having used Lightroom for so long. Yeah, that's another thing too. Being able to adapt your M lenses to the ZF. That's another bonus, and you're going to get the same focal length out of it. It's not going to be cropped or anything, since the ZF is full frame. But um, that is one thing. That's another aspect that uh, even on the Z8, if I'm using a manual lens, whether I'm adapting it or if I'm using the Thypoc Z-mount lens that's manual focus, using those lenses as well, even using a digital camera, there's something about that like truly manual focusing and not focused by wire. Um, just feels so much better. Capture One, you get more out of every brand's raw files. I've heard that from people. That's the thing. Like, I've never done any side by side testing myself, so I can't speak to it. But I've heard people talk about putting the same files directly into both and getting wildly different results. Um, I think which one it was? Yeah, the Leica, the SL2. I think when I had the SL2, because Leica and Capture One do, uh, they partner together or whatever, and so I think it came with a trial of Capture One, and that was when I tried it. And I remember I really liked what I got out of it, but it was just I was so used to Lightroom. Negative Lab is coming out with their own standalone app soon as well for film scanning. I saw that. I saw the email where he mentioned that. I had no idea that that was coming, but that was another one of the sort of pillars of using Lightroom for me, where it's like it's not only the convenience of it and the catalog system and like how I know it, but it's also where I use Negative Lab Pro for film scanning. So knowing that there's life outside of Lightroom for that would be great. Um, I still, I've always been happy with Lightroom's results though, so I've never had a real reason to switch. Nothing's ever made me want to switch based on what I get out of it. I'm just tired of paying monthly to Adobe and for so long now, and the fact that you have to like jump through hoops to get a fair price, and the amount of AI bullshit they push in every Adobe ad I see now, I'm just trying to get away from that. Anyone edit in their particular brand's own edit software? Has anyone used the Nikon app? Because I tried it. NX Studio. I had to hover over it on my dock to remember what it was called. That one, I did not spend too much time in there, and I bounced. It was like walking into a party and you're like, nah, I don't think this is for me. It was just buggy when I was using it. It was real slow and not responsive, and I felt like I was looking at an Excel spreadsheet with a photo in the middle of it. So yeah, maybe I need more time with it. Maybe we can chalk it up to that. I don't want to just sit here and step all over it, but it didn't seem like it was anything I was wanting to mess with. Trying to think of any other brands. Hasselblad. I can't remember what theirs. Focus. I remember when I did the Hasselblad video on the X2D, they kind of told me like, you're going to get the best results out of the files if you use Focus. Just it's optimized specifically for these files. And that was another one that I tried it, I think, once, and I was like, yeah, no, I don't care how much better the files look. It was one of those that just, software is not what Hasselblad was built on. You know what I mean? Neither was Nikon. So like, it is what it is. I'm sure the results are great, but yeah, it was just one of those like, nah, I think I'm good. Just keep on doing what I'm doing. What do you use when scanning from a flatbed? I still use Epson Scan, but it's been a minute since I've really used it. I still have my V600 that I've had for like 14 years now. I still have that, and I use Epson Scan, but even for instant film now, which was what I mostly used my flatbed for, I scan that by photographing it on a white canvas with flash, just to get that sort of physical object look, you know, like with the shadow underneath it. Just because I like the way that looks. The convenience of a flatbed is great. But you deal with the Newton rings when you get the Polaroid, that plastic on the front of it. When that's pressed against the glass, you get those Newton rings. So you have to use an adapter or something, you know, like I have some from Brooklyn Film Camera, that it's based essentially on the Impossible Project Polaroid scan adapter. So it just sits in a little bit and kind of keeps the Polaroid flat but off of the surface of the glass. It's just a little more, you know, tedious having to do that, and you got to get the adapters, and there's just little things like that that kind of kept me from sticking with it, you know, and that's why I like the method of photographing the Polaroid itself. But I also think that the idea of making sure my Polaroids aren't all perfectly flat, and sometimes they can warp a little bit and be sort of, you know, convex. So like getting that to lay nice and square and you know, on the same plane as the lens, and make sure it's flat enough that it's not going to look distorted. That's a little bit of a dance itself. So like, there is no super easy, convenient way of scanning instant film. That's unfortunate. But that's the only thing that I've really used a flatbed for in a long time. I used to use the V600 to scan 35 and 120, but then I went to the Pack-On for 35, which was great. Still wish I had my Pack-On. It wasn't the most convenient thing to run, and you'd have to troubleshoot from time to time, and I took my Pack-On apart more times than I can count. I can still picture what the inside looks inside the bed. But yeah, it was convenient for 35 millimeter when I only had a V600. You could just get so much cleaner results not trying to flatten your 35 where it normally kind of cups in the middle. It's really hard to get that flat in those little plastic film holders. So otherwise, using, you know, a third-party thing like the Lomography Digitaliza, I think is what it was called. I used to use that back in the day for scanning, even with the scanning with a mirrorless camera before negative supply was a thing. Is VSCO a thing again? I don't know. I haven't heard any rumblings about that. All the adventure folks are going to be real happy. Remember when an adventure and what was the some of the hashtags back in like that era of like Instagram and stuff? Live authentically. Hashtag live authentic. Do you have Epson Scan invert the negatives for you, or do you use Negative Lab for that? For the Epson Scan, I always had Epson Scan do it. I've never used Negative Lab to convert flatbed scans, but I know that that is a thing people do. So that might be the better option. I just haven't done that myself, so I'm not sure. Have you tried the Veloy Easy 120? Not sure it was worth the price, but seems a bit better than the V600. I haven't tried that. Kyle McDougall, if I remember right, I feel like I've seen Kyle make videos on some of the Veloy scanning products. I haven't used any myself, but check that out. Kyle McDougall. I'm pretty sure he has videos on those. And if he vouches for it, then I trust Kyle's input. So Willem has a Fuji Frontier, and he had to go through all kinds of backwards ways to get the old software working. He sent me a text of when that Fuji Frontier got delivered, like showing me where it was coming off the truck and where it had to go, and the flights of stairs, and just an absolute nightmare. Having a scanner like that would be sick, though. A Frontier or a Noritsu. That was like, back in the day, that used to be my, like, one day I'll have that. Hashtag iPhone only. Yeah, the Lomo digitalizer. I love that. The magnetic system, like, it flattens the film perfectly. I used to use mine all the time. Silverfast with my Epson V550 and Lomography digitalizer. Silverfast, that's the other one. I was trying to think what the other... I haven't tried it myself, but I remember back when I used the V600, people would talk about that one as an alternative. I'm probably the only film photographer that actually enjoys scanning. It's funny because that is one of those things that I feel like it's like sanding. Some people hate sanding on any kind of woodworking project, like it's the last thing they want to do. I personally, now I literally get paid to do it, but that's something I've always enjoyed. I was sweeping up tons of wood shavings. I've got my dad's old block plane, and I've been trying to like dial it in and just learn how to use a hand plane, and getting to just like have a nice long solid shaving of wood in one pass with the plane is the most satisfying thing ever. And I'll be working on stuff out here and sorting stuff, and I'll just stop for like 15 or 20 minutes, whatever I'm doing, and just plane wood and just get everything as flat and smooth as possible. And it's like a quick meditation in between, while I'm working on things. It's a good distraction. It's a healthy distraction. That's the kind of stuff I want to replace the scrolling with, Instead of grab my phone, I just whittle a piece of wood down to nothing. But speaking of the scanning, though, and instant film and everything, I think I mentioned it last week, but I'm going to be not scanning all of the years of negatives, but going through all the negatives for new episodes of Archives, and just going year by year, seeing what I find, things that I forgot about or glanced over in the first pass. So we're going to start those probably this month with the first episode. Probably start with 2012, because that's when I started actually taking it more serious of like keeping things organized. But we're going to start with that and the digital archive as well. That's coming, I think, next week, a week from tomorrow. And I am going to need to get the Polaroid or the instant film book in general. That needs to get the wheels in motion. So there's probably going to be another video kind of going through the instant film. If you guys have any questions specific to instant film, shooting instant film, scanning instant film, anything like that you want to know that you would like to see in that video, send me a message, leave it in the chat or a comment or something, and I'll try and add that to it just while I'm thinking of it. I know I'm going to be working on that soon. Using the V850 and Silverfast, it's okay. It's a little clunky. I'm using the old Plustek. Yeah, the Plustek was another one I never tried out, but I remember seeing that one for $35 that a lot of people used instead of the Epsons. Um, Little plus deck, while not fast, is doing most of my work, especially well for black and white. Nice. That was the thing I liked the most about the Pac-On was the color. It got the color much more accurately than Epson Scan ever did for me. Black and white, I was happy with the Epson, especially for medium format, but color, I really struggled with it. Hey Matt, I already said it, but thanks again for the Wotancraft Pilot 7-liter review. I've had the bag for a month now, so good. Where are we at here? I've got mine right here, fully packed up. This is currently what I've been using. I always bounce around to different bags depending on what camera I'm like mostly using in the moment or what I need to bring with me. And again, to get away from the constant screens. Like, since I got the Z8, really, so a little over a year, I've been using it as much as possible for work and personal use, just trying to like get as familiar with it as I can, which was pretty easy coming from a Nikon DSLR background back in the day. But just the file editing, all of that stuff, and just the digital workflow. So I got used to just keeping my MacBook with me and using a backpack instead of a smaller shoulder bag. So that way I could just bring my computer. If I ever shot a photo, needed to deliver it really quickly, I could just do it right there on the spot, and it's convenient for that. It's great. But it's, again, just too much. I want to be able to leave the house and fully just understand I don't need to bring the whole everything in the kitchen sink with me. You know what I mean? So anytime I use a shoulder bag like this, I'm always, it's again the we were talking about it earlier, I think, the limitation, just setting the limitation. I can only bring enough to put in this one bag, and everything else can wait. You know what I mean? But yeah, M6 feels good to be back using this every day. Gonna need to develop again soon as well. So probably do some life on film videos. Everyone seems to enjoy those. Nathan was telling me that not too long ago. He was like, dude, just sit down and develop all of this film, and there's your videos. That's another one where I have to remind myself or convince myself that people are telling the truth when they say they like that. Using the V850. Oh yeah, I already read that one. Plus deck. More love for the plus deck. Pretty good. Plus takes no space. Exactly. Do you still use the Peak Design Sling? I picked up the 6-liter after watching your review. I haven't used it in a minute. I think the last time I used it, it was one of those days where it was more just kind of like general carry out with the family. Because I think this bag had camera stuff in it, and I just grabbed it. I kept the bag because it's another, like, right behind the Wotancraft Pilot 7-liter, the Peak Design, which was what this bag replaced. The Peak Design 6-liter everyday sling that's my next favorite behind this one. It's a really, really good bag. I like the compartments and the material and just the way the bag kind of conforms to your hip or your side a little easier, or just a little better on the Wotancraft. But some people prefer the more rigid Peak design. So it's a toss up, but both of those bags are super, super good. I love my Peak Design 30-liter bag. It's been across the country and to Europe with me. It holds a wicked amount of gear. 30-liter is no joke. I have the Peak Design 20-liter backpack, everyday backpack. And I love, the bag is super comfortable. It's made really well. But I've never liked the way the storage is, where it's like fully, I'll just grab it, hold on. This like side access where everything is, you know, you can choose what, where these dividers go and how much space each one has. Um, I just don't like having to the whole side opening up and the how can I turn this to where there we go. Um, this way structurally it's just not much, and so things just like bounce around in there a lot. Um, Everything else about the bag, materials, this feature here, the release, just the quick, um, the little pocket right here, nice little stash pocket. You know what I'm saying? It's a good bag, really good bag. The side pockets, these things, you can fit the Peak Design travel tripod. I think it's in my truck. Um, it fits in here. You can fit a huge water bottle on the side. Really good bag. But for camera gear, like I want to buy a Peak Design just backpack that's more for just my computer, a tablet or notebook, that kind of stuff. Because I love what Peak Design makes. Like I really like their products in terms of how they're made, and they hold up really well from all of my experiences and all their products. Uh, I just don't like that configuration for a lot of, especially a heavy digital kit, multiple lenses. Yeah, not into it. Oh yeah, yeah. Kyle says it's perfect because I didn't want anything that would scream camera bag while being able to carry daily things aside from the MP. The very minimal style of the Peak Design bags and the Wotancraft bags for that matter, just all black, as simple as it can be. That's what I've always liked about them as well. Old Low Pro 20 ounce, and I've never needed anything else. I've got a buddy who's had one of the Low Pro 20 ounces, and he loves it. Z7 II, two lenses, a flash, and everything else, and the FM2. Yeah, 30 liter. That's because this is the 20 liter, and I always think like, man, if this was just a little bit smaller. Wandered. I used to have the Wandered Provoke. Is that what it's called? It's like Provoke or something because they get rid of all the vowels in there. It was something like that, but it's a Wandered backpack, roll top style. Tyler bought that one from me. Bought it from me. I gave it to. I don't remember. Tyler's been using that one for a while now, though. That's a really good one. I need to get rid of so many camera bags. We've talked about it before. Maybe on the Discord, that'll be an easier way to just like. That's actually a great idea, because I don't want a lot of money for any of this stuff that I have that I'm not using. I just need it. I need it gone. You know what I mean? Like I've been trying to whittle down so much of what I have out here in the barn. And it's seeing how open everything is right now is kind of shocking because, this used to be packed full of so much stuff. It's getting more and more functional every day, which feels great. But I've got a whole corner over there with like 5 or 6, maybe 8 backpack camera bags. Don't need. Probably at least 4 or 5 shoulder bags not being used. And it's just like I don't want to post all of those on Instagram and sort through all the DMs and try and keep you know what I mean? It'd be a headache. So maybe we'll do a cheap yard sale through the Discord. That would be awesome. Tenba Fulton. Oh, is that I think, is that like a shoulder bag? I have a little Tenba bag. Tenba Fulton sounds familiar. I've got like a little box style, kind of rigid, basically a cube shoulder bag from Tenba. It's another one over there that I thought about selling. But yeah, it's a solid camera bag. Oh, it's a backpack. Oh yeah. I know which one you're talking about. I think I've looked at that one. I was like, that name sounds really familiar. I have a ton of bags I'd love to sell. That's the thing. Like, so many of these so many of these backpack bags, you can get camera bags for super cheap. You know what I mean? I'm not holding on to them to to get the top price or get the top dollar. You know what I mean? Uh, I just the idea of posting all of them for $10, $20 each, whatever. Um, but yeah, that'll be added. It's gonna be added to my list. If anybody has any last minute questions or anything you'd like to ask or say or share, let me know. We'll wrap up the Sunday stream here in just a few minutes. Remember when Encase had a photography line? Still have a sling from them. Great bag. The Encase, the DSLR Pro Pack was the backpack. I think that was the name of it from Encase. And then the DSLR Pro Sling or whatever. It's probably the one that you're referring to. Encase made some amazing camera bags. I really liked all of Encase's stuff back then. Whether it be like just a regular backpack, like it wasn't the Icon. What was it called? I know the Icon. Encase Compass? Was it called the Compass? It was a small backpack. It wasn't a camera bag, but I put a little camera bag insert inside of it. I always liked Encase's stuff. They made really good stuff. Any Z lenses that you liked with the ZF? Tell you what, man, the 40mm kit lens genuinely surprised me. That is a super cheap lens, and it comes as a kit with the ZF. It looks good on the ZF given how they, the housing, the style of it. But for real, autofocus and image quality for a lens that cheap, that's a solid lens. Outside of that, I really only used the Thypoc 50mm Samara that I did a video on. That's a great lens on any Z mount. And then I used the 35 1.8S and the 50 1.4. Well, I guess I didn't really use that one on the ZF. I have that lens, but on the ZF I really only used the 35 1.8S and that Thypoc lens. And the 40mm kit lens, obviously. But that one I don't own. That was just a loaner with the ZF while I had that on loan. So, hey Matt, why is your website offline? Is there any way to buy Friend of Mine yet? So the website is back online now. That's been resolved. Friend of Mine is sold out. I literally have like 1, 2, 3. I have 4, maybe 5 copies of that book, at all, not inventory to sell, but like just period. I try to keep more than just 1 copy if something were to happen to one, or if I wanted to give a copy to somebody. If you really want to buy one, send me an email, and since you asked, and I genuinely appreciate the interest, send me an email if you really do want to buy one, at Running Digger. Go ahead and send me an email if you want to buy one, and we'll work that out, and I'll just sell you one directly. But yeah, I'm not going to be reprinting that one, unfortunately. Unfortunately for the people who want it. Fortunately for me, I guess, because I just, that was the whole goal for that second edition, was to like really make it a book that I wanted to make when I made those photos all the way back in 2013 and 14. So it was like, let's throw everything we've got at it. Let's really make it, and I'll print as many, way more than I thought I would ever print and sell, but let's just print a lot, so that way once it's done, it's done. And unfortunately, fortunately, it's very kind. People email me and ask about that and if I'm ever going to reprint it. But it's just one of those things where it's like I want to let it be. It is what it is. Maybe many years down the road, if I put together a retrospective of some kind or a collection of different series or different projects all in one book, maybe it'll exist that way. But as this form right here, you know what I mean? Like, I want this object. And that was also to everyone who got the book when it launched. It was like, if you're pre-ordering this, this is the one and done. I'm not doing a second printing. I'm not doing a third edition. Like, this is it. You know what I mean? So I also want to honor that and, you know, keep it something special, I guess. If you're twisting my arm, I'll sell one to you. There you go. I've been away for a while and missed the chance to buy. I really appreciate the opportunity to buy it again. Thanks, man. I'll send the email. I appreciate that. I'll keep this one aside for you. We'll make it happen. I appreciate the support, for real. Hey, Scone, thank you. Thanks for being here. Hope you enjoyed it. Bookmaking question. As someone with not a big following nor the financial means, how should I go about doing so? Do you recommend maybe crowdfunding with a pre-order? Really want to produce a proper book for a few years now. Yeah, I mean, for me, without doing a pre-sale of any kind, I wouldn't be able to do any of that. You know what I mean? That gives you the ability to fund the production, or at least the start of it. So even if you're limited to less, like a smaller run, even if it has to be that way, the problem, or I guess the juggle of it, is you buy more copies, the cost per book is going to come down. If you buy less copies, typically each book is going to cost more to make. So to get that money back, if you're trying to at least just break even, that's in itself something to celebrate. You know what I mean? If you're able to break even on creating a book like that, and self-publishing especially, like, it's, you know, that's the goal. Without a following, because that, for me, I mean, that's how I was able to or that's the, I guess that's the route I went, you know what I mean? Because the audience was already there. So if I were going without that, I mean, I know a lot of people have success with Kickstarter projects. My buddy Rich Joseph Facun, he just published his latest book, 1804, that's coming out. That was done through Kickstarter as well. So there are ways to do it where you're able to not just, like, for me, I shared in my YouTube videos and on Instagram directly to the audience, whereas things like Kickstarter, where something exists and people can see it and go to a specific place with all of the information on that, the, like, how projects get found and how people stumble across it, I feel like that's going to kind of change things depending on where you're directing people or where you're getting their attention in the first place. But I mean, you could always just start with a relatively small edition and start with, I mean, the first, I think, do I have one? Yeah. It's covered in coffee, but the very first version, A Friend of Mine, looks like this. It's covered in coffee. It was in a coffee shop in Chillicothe, and it was on the coffee table there, and it was regularly flipped through and used and abused. But this is the original version of Friend of Mine. Like, this is, you know, it's not the same book in terms of sequencing. It's not the same book in terms of design, all around, but like materials even. This is like a trade book from Blurb. And this was what I started the first time I shared the photos. So that was before, you know, there was an audience. It was before I had a YouTube channel. And so for that, I guess what I'm trying to get at is like if you start I mean, Kyle, the zine like the zine that we looked at of your own earlier is a much better product all around, in my opinion, than this version of Friend of Mine. You know what I mean? Like the presentation and everything, if this is a zine, like the printing, the binding, everything about this already trumps what I did. I hate using that word in a way of like it did better than. You get what I'm saying? But you're sometimes I think the idea of the physical aspect of the book being like a hardcover, that type of thing, that was really like when I first made this version, that was why I went back all those years later and made the second edition, because I was like, I want to make a book. You know what I mean? I want it to be like a real book. However, you can't start with that unless you either have all the money in the world or, you know what I mean? Like I get the idea, but I wouldn't hold yourself back in the idea of like, well, I'm going to wait until I can do it this way. Does that make sense? Like, you want to make sure you're, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. You're not holding, make sure you're not holding yourself back from sharing anything until it can be presented in a certain way, because I think the only way to do it is to start with where you're at and the amount that you're doing. You know what I mean? The amount of books or whatever it can, however you want to frame it. Does that make sense? I think that's what I'm trying to get at is like, even if you are starting small with a smaller production cost, smaller book size, maybe not the higher quality or as high of a quality as you would like, you know, the dream scenario. But I would just start there, and just kind of let the work take off and like give it some life and some room to breathe and see what comes from it. 'Cause you can always revisit things. Hey Matt, I have to head out, get dinner going. Thanks for being here, Matt. Appreciate it. What would be the budget needed to create a zine? That's, I mean, my very first zine I did for, I mean, less than, when you're talking materials and paper and things like that, I mean, it can be dollars, like cheap pennies. You know what I mean? Like per page, per sheet. Like you can print zines extremely affordably yourself on a little, you know, laser printer, or you can have it printed at a local print shop and then you fold it and staple it yourself. That's what I did with my first zine. I didn't have a laser printer at home. I had the local Office Max print the zine, and then I brought everything home, folded it, stapled it, and then trimmed the edge, which I think maybe it's around here somewhere. My first zine, it's around here. I don't know where it is, but that one was just folded pages printed at the local Office Max for, I mean, if I had to guess, all of the copies and everything, less than $100 to print all copies. I maybe did 40 or 50 copies or something like that. So like getting the pages printed, getting a stapler big enough to do the proper, you know, the size of the zine, all of those things, like you can do it crazy cheap. And maybe some of the things that the method you use, whether it be binding or any of that, maybe that is the part that takes you a little longer if you're doing it a cost-effective way. But it's, yeah, as Kyle said, Kyle says, I printed those cover photos on Delta and hand glued them on with a school glue stick to keep the budget down. This one right here, which looks killer. It can be that simple. You know what I mean? Like Kyle says, the DIY aspect really made it fun. That's what is super fun about this kind of stuff, is like yes, it's great to make a book, book, like a real thing, and have it printed somewhere, and it's all beautiful. I couldn't make that myself by hand, especially that many copies. Uh, the smaller editions and the more human, hands-on element of zines, uh, yeah, that's a big aspect of it. So, but that's going to be it for this live stream. I appreciate all of you being here. This is a good conversation. Glad we got to look at some zines here, and also talking about Discord. So, as I mentioned earlier, I'll get things figured out as to how I need to get like an automated either invitation sent out to channel members. I'll figure that out, and then we'll have more of that ready on next week's stream. But I appreciate everybody, all the interest there. It means a lot. I'm excited for it. I hope you all have a good week. Enjoy the rest of your week. I appreciate you all being here with me. Hopefully, maybe we'll see. I won't spoil it yet. Thank you all again for joining me. I love you guys. I'll see you next week.